Welcome, everybody. I'm Christina Laffin. I'm an associate professor and the Canada Research Chair in the Department of Asian Studies. I'm also a proud alumna of this department, where I completed a BA in 1996. We're also excited to be sharing this evening with you, celebrating 60 years of the Department of Asian Studies. Let me hand it over to my co-host, Gurinder.
Hello and good evening, everyone. It's a privilege to be here with you this evening. My name is Gurinder Man, and I'm a lecturer in Punjabi language and culture. I had the good fortune of being an undergraduate student here at UBC and completed one of my graduate degrees here as well. Good evening once again, and pleasure to be with you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aiden Quach. I am a fourth-year undergraduate student, double majoring in Chinese language and culture, as well as in honors history and international relations. I'm honored to be sharing this night with so many of our Asian studies family. All right, and before we get started today, I'm just going to pull up housekeeping items. So there's a few things that I wanted to clear out before we begin today's event. I wanted to remind everybody that today's event will be recorded. And you will get an email notification when that recording will be released at a later date. Your cameras and microphones have been disabled to help preserve bandwidth, but please feel free to send messages in the chat window at the bottom of your screen. To create an inclusive and respectful virtual environment, please follow civil etiquette during the whole event by not sharing strong personal stances on political and sensitive issues. If you're looking for closed captions, the closed captions feature is enabled for the event today. If you wish to turn it on, please click on the live transcript setting at the bottom of the Zoom toolbar and check on the show subtitles button. If you encounter any tech issues, please contact our tech support staff member, Anlu, via the chat box or email her, and her email is on the share screen. All right. And I will also go over today's event agenda. So we're going to start off today with some opening remarks from our department head, Dr. Sharalyn Orbaugh, and then followed by a greeting from Musqueam Elder Larry Grant. Afterwards, we'll have a greeting from President Santa Ono. And following that, we'll have Asian Studies 60 years, like a little history by Dr. Joshua Mostow, followed by a whole bunch of videos showing the diversity of Asian Studies. Afterwards, we will have a 60th anniversary campaign brought forward by Dr. Ross King. And we will have closing remarks from Dean of Arts, Dr. Gage Averill.
Thanks so much, Aiden. It's so exciting to see all of the people logging in from all over the world, our alumni, colleagues, friends of the department. It's exciting to be spending this night together with you. And I'm very privileged to have the honor of introducing my colleague, who is the current head of the Department of Asian Studies, and who is leading us into the next start of the next 60 years, Dr. Sharalyn Orbaugh.
Hi, everybody. I'm delighted to welcome all of you to the celebration of the 60th anniversary of the founding of the Asian Studies Department at UBC. It is my honor to be the 10th head of the department, and it is my great good fortune to be head at a time of prosperity and growth. COVID has certainly presented challenges to us, but even a global pandemic has hardly slowed us down. We begin this event by acknowledging that we all work, and many of us live, on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Hunkaminam-speaking Musqueam people. For millennia on this land, the Musqueam and other Coast Salish nations have been engaged in learning and passing down knowledge to the next generation. And we are grateful to have the opportunity to continue that practice on this land. This evening, you will hear directly from many members of our faculty and staff and hear lots of facts and figures about our accomplishments over the last 60 years. So at this point, I will just highlight some of our newest initiatives and most recent areas of growth. In the last 10 years, we've added Persian language and modern Iranian literature to our curriculum, thanks to generous support from members of the local community and from the university. As of next year, we will be teaching modern Arabic, a further step in fostering a curricular and research focus on Islamic studies in South and West Asia. Responding to the challenges of the 21st century, we currently have 3 department-wide initiatives with steering committees that include faculty, staff, and students. First, sustainability and climate justice. Second, anti-racist pedagogy. And third, indigeneity in Asia. All three initiatives are aimed at transforming department practices in the classroom and beyond, and at deepening ties with people and activities in the community. To those attendees who are alumni of Asian Studies, I'd like to extend a special welcome. Your presence has been crucial in shaping this department over its 60-year history, and we look forward to your thoughts about our direction for the next 60 years. Please let us hear from you. Finally, to everyone attending, we thank you for your support of Asian Studies at UBC. I hope you will enjoy the rest of the program.
Thank you so much, Dr. Orbaugh, for your opening remarks. It sets the stage for the wonderful showcase that we'll have later this evening. At this time, it is my pleasure and great honor to introduce and invite Elder Larry Grant to speak. Elder Larry Grant is an elder from Musqueam First Nation. It is through UBC First Nations language program that he reconnected with his mother's ancestral language, Hunkamina. He is an adjunct professor in UBC's First Nations language program and the language and culture consultant for Musqueam First Nations. Please join me in welcoming Elder Grant.
Hello, everyone. It's good to see you. Good to be here today. I'm the one that has the privilege of doing the land acknowledgement for the people of the Musqueam territories here. Siyam te siyayet, siyatalatin, tiswalap, ahuinamat tana whale. I steakwinas yuenas, peopalano, I flotimulto. Bla, says Johannes, because he looks to Huinas, Ebig Netten, Kushwi to the Sans Tamukas for Musqueam. Is the Ergunas Johannes, Capelano, I Qualtimoto, set the something need as well up, he looks dollar, I see a taller to Mukalap, because Kui Tana Whale. I tap with him, Nasiam. I want to say thank you. Thank you very much for having me today to do the land acknowledgement for the Musqueam community and to do the actual recognition of the 60th anniversary of Asian Studies program here at UBC. And I would really, really appreciate being able to say a few words in the sense that my heritage, my father comes from China, from Guangdong province, Zhongshan County, and the village of Semun. And my mother comes from here in the Musqueam lands. So I'm half Musqueam and half Chinese. And it's been really, really, I think, a really big step that Asian Studies has taken, and being able to do Indigenous Asian Studies programs, because I truly feel that to understand the different countries and the different peoples that are there, that it's the Indigenous peoples are the true heartbeat of the land. So I truly want to say thank you and true appreciation of Asian Studies moving in that direction. And I really truly want to say congratulations for the 60th anniversary of the program. It's probably one of the, I think, better programs that we have that delves into the different indigeneity of the peoples of the land. Hai Tapewa Sim Nasiaya, Colette Quincy Theatala, Teswallop, Uhui Namet Tanawea, Hai Tapewa Sim Nasiaya, Theatala. Thank you very much.
Our sincere and heartfelt thanks and appreciation to Elder Grant for joining us this evening. At this time, I introduce to you the President and Vice Chancellor of UBC, Santa Ono.
Welcome to the Asian Studies 60th Anniversary Celebration. When the Department of Asian Studies was founded in 1961, It was one of the first such departments in all of North America. Today, 60 years later, the department is the leading Asian Studies program in Canada and is recognized around the world. It's the largest department in the Faculty of Arts in terms of faculty numbers, and one of the largest in terms of students taught. It teaches 11 languages, from Arabic to Urdu, and its faculty expertise and teaching cover some dozen countries, home to almost 50% of the world's population. It attracts graduate students from 17 countries in North America, Eastern and Western Europe, and all parts of Asia. The quality of Asian Studies faculty members has been recognized through Killam Research and Teaching Prizes, Shirks, CRCs, membership in the Royal Society of Canada, and most recently, the department welcomed 2 new Indigenous scholars as part of the President's Academic Excellence Initiative. With such a history, I can't wait to see what the next 60 years will bring.
Thank you, President Ono, for those kind words. We too are looking forward to the next 60 years and all that it will bring. I now have the pleasure of introducing my colleague, Dr. Joshua Mostow.
Thank you very much, Christina. It's my pleasure to review a little of the history of the last 60 years, which I'm going to do. We have, on the occasion of the 60th anniversary, put together a timeline and archive that will be available to the public, including the marvelous video interviews you just saw as we were warming up for this event. And I'd like to highlight some of them, some of the events now. Professor William Holland was, before coming to UBC, the executive secretary of the Institute of Pacific Relations and editor of the journal Pacific Affairs. The IPR became the victim of congressional anti-communist hysteria in the 50s. And in 1961, the UBC invited Professor Holland to become head of the new Department of Asian Studies, and he brought the Pacific Affairs Journal with him. In 1966, the department had about 10 faculty members, 7 graduate courses, 25 undergraduate courses, as a total enrollment of 357. The second head of department was Edwin Pulley-Blank, who was recruited from the University of Cambridge, where he was professor of Chinese. In these days, heads of department were appointed for life. And we're, I think, probably grateful to Professor Pulley-Blank that he decided not to do that, and that we were allowed to have a series of heads, 10 over the last 60 years. Moving into the 70s, Professor Shotaro Iida of the philosophy department convinced the chief executive of the Sanyo Corporation in Japan to donate the Sanyo Pavilion, which had been at Osaka Expo 70, for the Department of Asian Studies and the Asian Library. There is a link on the timeline to a wonderful video about that whole process. The building arrived in 1971 and sat on a vacant lot for about 2 years before the funds were brought together to be able to start construction of it. This went through the tenure of the head of Peter Harnetti, the third head, and then finally, one of the most important additions to the department was Enid Graham, who joined as administrator in 1977 and served almost till the end of the millennium, 1999, and was an enormous help to everyone coming through the department. It was Dr. Ashoka Klujkar who was head when finally, in the 1980s, the Asian Center was finally completed after almost 7 years. And Professor Klujkar was able to head up an open house for visitors that drew 8,000 visitors when the Asian Center finally opened. By 1984, undergraduate enrollments had increased to almost 1,200 rather, and the number of courses were, as you see, 107. But in fact, this began a difficult time for the department and the university. UBC was financially retrenched, and there were essentially no faculty hires in the Asian Studies department between 1979 and 1987. The faculty that were there, however, did very well, and three faculty members, Kinya Tsuruta, Dan Overmeyer, and Ye Lauscher, were inducted into the Royal Society of Canada. Professor Harnetti, after being head, continued to teach and received one of the first Arts Excellence in Teaching prizes, which started a now long and distinguished tradition in the Department of Excellence in Teaching. Finally, starting in about the late 1980s, the department was given increased positions and support from both the faculty and the university. This was signaled partly by the hiring Jinhua Chen, who was the first Canada Research Chair in the arts faculty. The beloved professor of Japanese history, John Howes, in 2003 received the Order of the Rising Sun. And after Enid Graham's retirement in 2003, we were fortunate to have Maya Scott, now Norman, join us as the administrator. We wish she would continue in that position until the end of this millennium, but I think that's probably asking too much. In 2009, Dr. Rebecca Chow, who is the coordinator of the Japanese language program, received the UBC Killam Teaching Prize. And in 2011, we made a major accomplishment in branding by creating this logo of the tea flower, which represents the Asian Studies department. I encourage you to look at our website for an explanation of it. In 2011, we hosted the first Harjit Gaur Sidhu Memorial Program. We started teaching Persian language in 2011. And 2011 was also the year that Christina Laffin was appointed a Canada Research Chair in Pre-Modern Japanese Literature and Culture. The department has a number of annual lectures, and one of them is the John Howes Lecture, which started in 2012. In 2013, yet another Killam Prize winner, Dr. Stefania Burke, who is now actually the Associate Dean for Education in the whole Department of Arts. Yes, this is academic affairs. Cantonese language program was launched due to the generosity of Alex and Chisham Watt, and also we have the annual Watt Lecture named in memory of their mother. More donations to create a position in a postdoc in Chinese Buddhism, and then the launch of what we fondly refer to as Frog Bear, a massive East Asian Buddhist research project. 2017 saw the launch of the Hong Kong Studies Initiative. In 2018, the Buddhist Academic Network at UBC received a significant gift, as it did that same year from the Kinsey Foundation for promoting the study of Tibetan Buddhism. Dr. Chen Wang, who coordinates our Chinese language program, was a Killam Teaching Prize winner in 2019. Which brings us to this decade. We have two more members of the Royal Society of Canada and one member of the College of New Scholars, Artists, and Scientists. This year, that Japanese lecturer, Iwa Kim, received the Killam Teaching Prize. And Dr. Sunera Tobani received the UBC Dean of Arts Award, a major award in our department. We are now, as you heard, at our 10th head, Dr. Sharalyn Orbaugh, who looks noticeably different from her predecessors. We have now 47 ladder rank faculty or tenure track faculty, as President Ono said, making us by faculty the largest department in arts. And we have also 26 lecturers. So in total, we have 96 faculty members supervising over 60 graduate students. And we now have total annual enrollments in our courses of almost 6,000 students with more than 350 courses offered. And this gives you a visual of how things have changed over almost 60 years, where the number of faculty has grown tenfold, as have the number of courses, and the number of students even more than that. So I encourage you to explore the timeline when you get a chance and watch us as we continue this exciting journey for another 60 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mostow, for your comments on the growth and the history of the department as a whole. Now, let's take a look at what developments have been made in each of our programs, as well as take a look at the new innovative programs and research that has come out of UBC Asian Studies. First off, we have the Cantonese Language Program and Hong Kong Studies Initiative.
I hope people understand Cantonese is not just a dialect, as many people would say, and it has its own culture, it has its own history, and it's also constantly evolving and changing by the minute.
學到嘅就唔單止係語言學上面點樣講一種語言啦，其實正如呢一堂課佢講嘅就係流行文化，所以身為一個土生土長嘅香港人咧，其實我覺得好多流行文化都係我哋日常所接觸，但係忽略咗。
If you are Chinese Canadian and if you have Cantonese speaking elders in your family, if you have the language, then it's a key to communicate with them. And I always say a language is like a key for you to teleport to different cultural spaces.
The students especially from mainland China, whose native language is not Cantonese, can have a chance to not only learn another language in the Sino-Tibetan linguistic system, and also some ancient Chinese culture that is not being taught in mainland China.
We frequently say that language is an integral part of culture. This is also my mother tongue, and we do not want it to diminish in any way or even disappear anytime soon. Cantonese plays such a significant role in the history of Vancouver that it deserves preservation and promotion. In addition, we hope that this program can help us inherit the past and usher in the future for the global Cantosphere. And we want to showcase the diversity within and across the different Cantonese communities in different parts of the world. As long as there are Cantonese-speaking communities, they can always raise awareness of the language and its culture.
Hong Kong offers us a lot to study, from its entangled history, diverse communities, complex identities, distinctive culture to hybrid society. All the constant changes in Hong Kong urge us to rethink what we've learned in textbooks and reflect on our modes of inquiry. Hong Kong studies is not just about case studies, but it also brings forth multiple ways of approaching an issue and asking questions on a global level. In this regard, Hong Kong studies is a site where different fields and disciplines in the humanities and social science interact and dialogue with one another.
Well, Hong Kong is a great story. is a story, of course, of colonialism, but it's also a story of capitalism and nationalism. But above all, it is an extraordinary story of the flows of goods, ideas, and people. And it is a spectacular story of the construction and fusion of identities.
The film industry is one way of showing that you can get this wonderful mixture of both commercial film and art film and come up with some great cinema.
So doing this course will not only help you know something about Hong Kong and China, Macau, but also know about your communities and get to the bottom of why there's so many good dim sum places in Vancouver, for example.
Hong Kong has always been a place that's been connected to other places by the Cantonese-speaking migrants who went through Hong Kong, who did business in other parts of the world, who set up, companies that were in multiple locations.
It would be a way to recognize the enormous contributions of Hong Kong people to this university and to the whole Vancouver region. And since it would cover so many different areas, it would also appeal to, I think, to a very wide range of students.
We hope you are as excited about the Hong Kong Studies Initiative as we are, and we look forward to your joining us on this venture.
It's absolutely delightful to witness the expansion and the growth of the Hong Kong Studies program. And we express our sincere thanks to our colleagues for their efforts. Many thanks to students for their engagement and thank you for the support from the Hong Kong diaspora, both here in Vancouver and globally as well. Up next, let's see the work being carried out by our colleagues and students in the Chinese language program and Chinese studies.
First established in 1957, the Chinese language program and Chinese studies has grown into one of the largest programs of its kind in North America. The Chinese language program and Chinese studies have been home to a constellation of internationally renowned researchers, many of whom have been elected as the Fellows of the Royal Society of Canada. The program's development and flourishment today is inseparable from the selfless devotion and ceaseless contributions of its three former directors, Dr. Josephine Chu-Duke, Dr. Robert Chen, and Dr. Duan Duan Li. Thanks to the three previous directors' leadership and all the instructors' commitment, the program now sees a steady and robust growth of enrollments, offering around 50 courses and welcoming more than 3,500 students per year.
大家好，我是李牧。2010年从 UBC 的中文系毕业了，然后就来到了中国，在这里学相声、学快板、写书、拍电视、开公司，就是玩得非常开心，也非常感谢当年 UBC 的各个中文老师给我的非常多的支持。今天也祝贺我们 UBC 的亚洲系60岁生日快乐。
Nowadays, the program is committed to promoting community-engaged learning. The varied course offerings, individualized oral practice sessions, and rich extracurricular events greatly enhance students' learning experience.
Learning Chinese has not been an easy process, but it has allowed me to meet a wide range of people and offered me a community where, although people are all striving towards different education and career goals, I find learning Chinese has forced me out of my comfort zone and allowed me to become a better global citizen.
The thing I'm most excited about with learning Mandarin is that I'm going to be able to make new friends. Being monolingual, I can only really speak to people in English.
Oral practice sessions as a part of my Chinese language course help me converse and train with student volunteers that are native Chinese speakers. They not only help me train my knowledge of the language, they also help me understand a native speaker's speech patterns, slang, and give me other cultural insights.
Learning Chinese at UBC has been a great eye-opening experience. Because of this opportunity, I've been able to find a community of like-minded individuals who are so willing to form meaningful dialogue about what it means to be Asian Canadian.
中文课的老师没有要求我们给什么样的标准答案，而是说我们可以用辩证的方式去看待诗人的想法。所以在这个过程当中，我也发现了，其实现代人的很多生活也是可以和古人产生共鸣的。
The UBC Chinese Language Program is a place that brings together a community of multifaceted cultures and people.
Working as TA workload has allowed me a better insight into intercultural competency because everyone's experience, culture and identity are welcome and celebrated.
My interpersonal and professional skills have developed greatly, and I know those are very important skills that I will carry with me throughout academia and beyond.
Each year, the Chinese Language Program and Chinese Studies hold many extracurricular events to foster diverse learning communities for students. The program establishes its own cluster of social media channels to better cater to students' learning needs and media consumption habits. Beyond UBC, the program has not only initiated study abroad courses to provide students a global educational experience, but also offered courses that closely engage with local communities. Working closely with the Chinese Language Program, the current Chinese Studies faculty members are all engaged in pioneering research on a wide scope of academic topics, ranging from traditional Chinese thought and religion to modern popular literature and culture in the Chinese-speaking world. These world-class scholars are also dedicated to enhancing students' learning experience. The program's past achievements and its faculty members' deep commitment lay a solid foundation for a promising future. The Chinese Language Program and Chinese Studies aspire to enhance intercultural understanding, promote lifelong learning, achieve curricula indigenizing, vary course offering, and promote community-based learning. With these inspiring outlooks, the program will contribute to the further flourishment of the Department of Asian Studies, as envisioned by the following faculty members.
When I imagine the future of the department, I guess I just imagine a place of truly innovative education, a place where students can explore ways to take what they're learning and use it to make their lives meaningful.
I expect that over the next few years, the department will continue to grow, not just to cover more parts of Asia, but to cover new and exciting ways of studying it.
We look forward to the next 60 glorious years of the Chinese Language Program, Chinese Studies, and the Department of Asian Studies at large. Happy 60th anniversary, UBC Department of Asian Studies.
That was so moving to watch all of these students being energized by all these phenomenal educators. It's really amazing to consider the whole spectrum of students who have learned through the Chinese Language Program and through Chinese Studies, and the vast number, the sheer number of people who have come through Asian Studies and learned Chinese or learned much more through Chinese Studies. And it was just incredible to see. Next, I'm really pleased to introduce to everyone the Hindi-Urdu language program.
Hindi, Urdu, Hindustani or Hindi Urdu are the names used for the language spoken in North India and also in Pakistan. It has more than 500 million fluent speakers, first language speakers as well as second language speakers. It is in fact lingua franca, a common language in North India and also in Pakistan. If you really want to understand and experience the culture of India and Pakistan, then you must learn the local language. Hindi in many ways is the best language to learn simply because it is the most widely spoken language there. With the knowledge of the local language, you will be able to penetrate deeper into the society and experience the culture firsthand, where a tourist usually just scratches the surface. Hindi and Urdu are sister languages and are very close to each other with a very high degree of mutual intelligibility. The high registers of Hindi and Urdu may differ, but the spoken variant is almost identical. the language of Bollywood, the Hindi film industry, is the perfect example of the confluence of Hindi and Urdu. Bollywood films are usually understood and enjoyed by the speakers of both Hindi and Urdu. At UBC, at the elementary level, we teach Devanagari script, the writing system for Hindi, and the spoken version, which is common to both Hindi and Urdu. And on the intermediate level, towards then, we also introduce Nastaliq, the Perso-Arabic script, to equip the students with the basic knowledge of the Urdu writing system.
Growing up as a third-generation Indian who could not speak my mother tongue was difficult. Taking Hindi at UBC provided me with a chance to reconnect with my cultural background and has helped me shape my identity as a third-generation South Asian woman. I studied Hindi for 2 years and practiced with my grandparents often. Being able to converse with them in Hindi and showing them how much I progressed in reading and writing has opened up a whole way for me to connect with the elders of my family. I have started watching and re-watching my favorite Bollywood films, and now I'm able to understand a lot of the dialogue without having to rely on the subtitles. This feeling is rewarding. Mujhe Hindi bahut pasand hai.
मेरा नाम जेम्स है और मैं UBC में हिंदी सीखी. I wanted to learn Hindi because it's one of the most spoken languages in the world. Learning Hindi has allowed me to connect with people in South Asia and right here in BC for work, research, and even my personal life. One of the great things about UBC Hindi is small class size. There's a lot of one-on-one and direct interaction between the student and the professor, and that really helps the student grow in their speaking, or their listening, or their reading, or their writing. And the professor of the course is really attentive to student interest, and for me that helped me feel really comfortable and to grow significantly in Hindi. The Hindi language is part of a rich history and tapestry of languages that actually stretches across Asia, and UBC Hindi does a great job of exploring the region and its cultures through Hindi in fun and engaging ways. मुझे हिंदी सिखाने के लिए धन्यवाद सुनील जी.
The growth of the Hindi-Urdu language program is astounding. It's also heartwarming to hear about how students are connecting and reflecting on culture as they learn a language. Next up, we have a showcase of the achievements of Japanese studies and the Japanese language program.
Coming to this department from another discipline, I learned to embrace my culture and language as method of research and teaching while also approach them critically. I value working with my colleagues and students to advocate for a space of learning where minoritized identities and knowledges are respected and promoted.
I've been fortunate to teach a variety of courses, including my favorite, Asia 454. Adaptations of Japanese classics. What I love most in teaching is what I learn from and about our students. They bring a wealth of personal knowledge, experience, and curiosity that makes each lesson unique. And my courses and my views change thanks to them. Teaching pre-modern culture to modern-day students is a privilege and reminds me how valuable and relevant this work is.
I have been teaching and researching East Asian popular culture, modern Japan-Korea relations, and North Korea in historical context. In addition, I have been editing the journal Pacific Affairs, which has pushed me to explore topics ranging from soil erosion on the Pitcairn Islands to contemporary communism in South Asia.
Unique collaboration with artists, students, and scholars, as well as with the Museum of Anthropology, have been possible thanks to the department. The most recent collaboration was with events for the exhibition I curated at MOA, A Future for Memory, Art and Life After the Great East Japan Earthquake.
Much of my research explores how the classics of Japanese court literature were and are read and interpreted by later generations in both elite and popular culture. I'm particularly drawn to pictorializations and illustrations, including illustrated scrolls, woodblock prints, and manga.
We have one of the largest and most robust Japanese language and culture programs in North America, and I've benefited enormously from the support, knowledge, enthusiasm, and strengths of the Japanese studies community, alongside, of course, the mentorship and collaboration of my many Asian studies colleagues here in the department.
I am tremendously grateful for the support and mentorship of my colleagues in Asian studies. Thanks to our community at UBC, I have been able to develop a number of public-facing humanities projects. It is so rewarding to combine my research and passion for teaching in exploring these new possibilities.
I have done some research on Japanese Buddhism in the Edo period, and I continue to work on the Japanese religions and society. Currently, I am focused on a project dealing with Japan's invasion of Joseon Korea in 1592 to 1598 and Ming China's involvement, all exciting research topics for me.
As a Canada Research Chair over the past decade, thanks to the department and colleagues from around the globe, we were able to host dozens of scholars, performers, and educators, in person or virtually, to engage with students, instructors, and the public in sharing knowledge about Japan and its literature and culture, both past and present.
Since arriving at UBC, I have supervised 19 completed PhDs and 24 MAs. Working with top-notch graduate students has kept me on my toes, kept me sharp, kept me honest. I owe my continued growth as a scholar to the efforts I made to stay one step ahead of them.
ブリティッシュコロンビア大学
アジア研究学科は
おかげさまで本年創立60周年を
迎えることができました。
私たち日本語科
教員一同より
皆様のこれまでの
ご尽力並びにご支援に
深く感謝申し上げます。
今後ともどうぞ
よろしくお願い申し上げます。
It is absolutely delightful to observe the vast number of accomplishments that have been made by Japanese studies and the Japanese language program. At this time, I'm thrilled to introduce our Korean studies program.
What's that? Over there. Looks really freaky. Damn, that thing has a freaking huge head.
Here is the first game. You will be playing red light, green light. You are allowed to move forward when it shouts out green light. Stop when it shouts red light. If your movement is detected afterwards, you will be eliminated.
Why are you watching the English dub?
Red light, green light.
I don't know. I don't know Korean.
Why don't you learn by taking some classes here at UBC?
What's the program like?
Just watch the video.
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
I'm currently taking Korean 102. Korean 200.
Korean 200, Rise of Korean Civilizations and Contemporary Korean Culture.
Asian 317.
Korean 200, and I'm taking Asia 347.
I'm currently TAing Korean 100. So I'm currently TAing for Korean 200, and I've also taken some classes in Korean translation and Korean society. Being able to come together and like practice, because you know it's fun and we make jokes and it just feels like we're really learning the language.
Even if we're bad and even if we don't know what we're saying, it's just like the act of trying and seeing how much better we're getting or how much better we're not. But it's just like fun, everyone getting together.
We get to watch movies, Korean movie. It's pretty fun to watch it.
I like to learn all the different vocab. I like having a wide array of expressions I can say.
My favorite part as a heritage student was being able to connect with the dimension of Korea that I hadn't known before. I think I enjoyed cultural aspects that I didn't previously know about before about my country.
Oh, our group project is we have to make a skit together.
And we have to use all the grammar points and vocabulary we learned throughout the term.
In Korean 410, by the end of the semester we produced like a translation of a Korean short story that has never been translated into English before.
We did this like Korean drama style video. We have like drama clips and the final result will just be like you're one of the actors speaking. I was like a huge K-drama fan. That was kind of like a dream come true.
I think the classroom is like a very safe environment where you don't have to be afraid of making mistakes and learn from everything you're doing.
Recently, I planned a K-pop dance event and I got to work with the Korean department and they were very nice and very considerate.
We learned K-pop dances and then we had snacks and then we had a trivia where we won prizes and it was great.
How much passion there is, I guess, for the subject and how much people actually want to be there.
The level of instruction by our Asian Studies professors are top tier. I did my BA here, now I'm doing my MA here, and there's really no place else I'd rather be doing Asian Studies. 선정해 선생님, I love you!
Well, I just like Korean culture in general, so maybe one day I can take my family to Korea
and I can take them around.
I look forward to the future in the program. I am going to be minoring in Asian language and culture with a focus on Korea. I do plan on taking the TOPIK exam, as well as hopefully post-grad also teach English there for at least a couple years as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing how the Korean program will grow. I hope I will be returning to the university in a few years, and hopefully I can participate more in either the educational aspects or even as a student again. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to that. 감사합니다.
감사합니다. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
감사합니다.
감사합니다. 감사합니다.
한국 학 프로그램에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 게임에 참가할 준비가 되셨습니까?
I guess she could have turned on the subtitles.
Well, if that doesn't convince you of the immense vibrancy and creativity of our Korean Studies Department and Korean language programming, the language and Korean Studies programming clearly have immense skills, not only in filmmaking, but incredibly creative students and instructors. I'd now like to introduce a contribution from the Persian language program.
The Persian language program is a great opportunity to learn about Farsi language and Persian culture.
Really learn more about my heritage, my culture in general.
My family and all my friends are Persian, and they would all speak Farsi, and I just wanted to get really good at speaking, writing, reading, all of those skills so I could better engage with my friends and family.
I wanted to be able to read and write Persian for when I did eventually go to Iran. I wanted to be able to read the signs on the streets, to be able to write letters or anything.
Persian literature was my favorite subject in school, and ever since I became an international student, I always felt I'm missing something, and that was when I found this program.
The Persian program has helped me not just learn to read and write Farsi, but it's also helped me to understand my culture better.
Now I have a much broader perspective of what life is like in Iran and a lot of its culture and tradition.
This program really allowed me to learn back a lot of the things I've lost and allowed me to just connect back to my culture a lot more. To just hone on to the skills that, just like the basic skills, but still enrich them in a lot of different categories and ways.
They weren't just focused in theoretical learning. Everything that we learned was applicable to real life, and everything that we did was useful.
It's amazing how literature affects and gets affected by politics, economics, religion, and history, and studying literature is a great way to understand people of different eras, their expectations, their behaviors, and their perspective. There's just so much to learn. I learned so much about different styles of writing and ideas which inspires me to write more.
I was also exposed to a lot of the culture because everyday things also included the culture, so it was really good for me because I wasn't exposed to it before, so the course really helped with that as well.
Being able to talk one-on-one with the instructors, class size is not particularly big, it just kind of builds like a small community of sorts.
It gave me the opportunity to network with other Persians from different walks of life, and alongside the academic aspect of it, It also introduced me to such a fun and friendly community that I would cherish forever.
It was one of my only classes that I felt really engaged with the professor and the students.
By the end of this course, I was able to use advanced Persian slangs and idioms in my interactions with other Persian people. Even though we could only virtually meet for this class due to COVID-19, Dr. Dehqani made sure that we would still get an A-level education and made this class very engaging and interactive.
The professor has done a great job at making the learning space a very effective and efficient place.
The instructor is very accommodating and he understands that students are under a lot of pressure, so he makes adjustments accordingly.
Professor Dehqani was also really attentive to where students were and what pace. کلاس خیلی خوبی بود، خیلی خوش گذشت و خیلی یاد گرفتم. مرسی، خداحافظ.
The dedication of staff and students learning Persian is truly inspiring. It's also very powerful to see students connect language to society and their everyday lives. Now we will take a look at the developments of the Punjabi language program.
And I have the privilege of leading UBC's Punjabi language program, the most robust of its kind throughout the entire continent. And I am thrilled to share that the program is thriving and enrollment is significantly increasing. Punjabi is a very widely spoken language in the Lower Mainland, in the province of BC, and throughout the entire nation. Punjabi is spoken by academics, by celebrities, by politicians, and millions of other people throughout the entire globe. I'm thrilled that UBC offers courses at the beginners level, at the intermediate level, and all the way to the advanced level. Each and every year, students come through the door, some to connect with their mother tongue, so that they can establish a link with their parents, with their grandparents, and so many other individuals within their families. Others simply have a significant interest and enthusiasm to study a language that is so vibrant because of its music, its films, its foods, and its parties as well. I'm delighted that individuals have demonstrated so much interest in studying Punjabi, enough so that we have noticed a notable growth in the amount of sections that we now offer at UBC at the beginners level and the intermediate level. And at the advanced level, enrollment is notably increasing as well. The Asian Studies Department of UBC deserves a significant amount of credit to support a program of this kind, which is so unique in the entire continent of North America. I'm delighted to be the lecturer for Punjabi language and culture, and I look forward to continuing supporting the growth of this program. Thank you.
Thank you to our Punjabi language programming for fostering such important opportunities for heritage learners, for non-heritage learners in language and in culture. Next up, I'd like to introduce the Tibetan and Nepali Studies programming.
British Columbia Zugla Labde Asia Dezen Udnyen Lotu Korbe Demdila Deshi Delecta Samdishu Congratulations and Tashi Tele for the 60th anniversary of founding of Asian Studies Department at the University of British Columbia. At UBC, we had a long history of teaching Tibetan language and culture in the Asian Studies Department. In the 1970s, we had world-renowned Tibetan Buddhist scholar Jeffrey Hofken, who taught Tibetan Buddhist program at UBC. At the same time, we had renowned Tibetan scholar Hlalungpa Lobsang Phunzo, who taught Tibetan Buddhism at UBC. Currently, we are fortunate to have endowment from the Kensei Foundation to teach Tibetan language program and appointment of postdoc in Tibetan Buddhist studies.
Hi, my name is Dagmar Schwerk and I'm the Kensei Foundation Postdoctoral Fellow in Tibetan Buddhist Studies. I've been part of this wonderful department since 2018. My research here has focused on Tibetan and Bhutanese Buddhism, and I'm super excited to share that this has resulted in this thick monograph publication. I'm also teaching undergraduate courses and developing the Tibetan Buddhist Studies course curriculum. Also, I'm enjoying to participate and contribute to the UBC Himalaya program and also the Asian Studies Sustainability Initiative, which is one of the new and important departmental initiatives. Happy anniversary! I'm looking forward to all your future contributions, Asian Studies.
Hi everyone, my name is Choltem Gro. Tashi Delek and Namaste. I graduated from the University of British Columbia under the Department of Asian Studies. Congratulations on the 60th anniversary of the successful running of the Department of Asian Studies.
Our current Tibetan language teacher is Sonam Chosang, who will introduce our language program at UBC.
Thari dera UBC Chuklalopta Chenme Asia ne dechen Winyene lo Chukchukurke Vetun Nimola Nge Pekejinde Homa Tangegen Gi Chapune Nambazola Samri Tangchebe Tashidele Shugiye.
When we first began offering Tibetan language classes here at UBC in the summer of 2016, our classes were in summer and intensive courses with the component of community engaged learning. I also would like to thank our Tibetan community members here in the Lower Mainland for welcoming the students and sharing with the students their culture, their knowledge, and their warm welcome that enriched student learning experience. On this important occasion, I would like to thank everyone at the Department of Asian Studies, the UBC Himalaya program, and the Kensei Foundation for supporting Tibetan language program.
But when I came to UBC, I also had the precious opportunity of studying Tibetan language with Sonamla, and as well as working for Professor Shakya. These courses have given me a solid knowledge in Tibetan language, both colloquial and classical.
I'm Vinod Shrestha. म UBC एशियाई अध्ययन विभागमा नेपाली भाषा सिकाउँछु। एशियाई अध्ययन विभागलाई यसको 60औं वार्षिकोत्सवको अवसरमा हार्दिक बधाई तथा शुभकामना दिन पाउँदा म ज्यादै खुसी छु। My name is Vinod Shrestha. I've been teaching Nepali language at UBC since 2016. I'm delighted to extend my warmest congratulations to Asian Studies on its 60th anniversary.
Wow, it is so exciting and impressive to see what our current and past participants in the Tibetan and Nepali studies have accomplished. Next, let's hear from our East Asian Buddhist Studies research program.
Scholarship from the East Asian Buddhist Studies research program is truly remarkable, and UBC is the perfect nexus for this kind of research. Finally, let's take a look at a day in the life of the Department of Asian Studies staff, the administrative folks that help make all the magic happen.
Oh, great news! We have another grad student who just submitted her thesis. And I've heard that we received donation from our grad students. Okay, let me check with Maya. Oh, she's on the phone.
Oh, wow, you're giving us another $1 million? Amazing! There's so much we can do with that. Okay, we're gonna open up more sections of our courses with a long wait list. We're gonna offer employment opportunities to students, extra team support for our instructors, and finally buy the good quality chocolates. Hey, Pamela!
Hi, Maya! That's great news about the donation, but before we can order chocolate, I have to order keys for some faculty members as well as deal with an academic misconduct meeting. But after this, I get to Zoom with Lindsay.
Wasn't today's training session fun, Pam? Great. Now on to changes for the faculty and staff resources website. A little onboarding here, some information about course proposal guidelines there. Oh, and the finishing touches on the faculty search process part 2. I think faculty will really appreciate the step-by-step instructions, right, Maggie?
Hello, thank you for applying the Korean lecturer search. I am happy to assist you with your application process. Once you're hired, you'll work with Sharalyn regarding course scheduling. Sharalyn!
Hi! Our goal for course scheduling is to minimize clashes and provide good course options for our students. If a student has any questions about degree requirements or courses, the best person to ask is Sophie. Isn't that right, Sophie?
Hi, I was wondering if you could tell me more about the graduation ceremony.
Absolutely, Zoe. Based on your registration, you're good to graduate in May. Just don't forget to take our grad photos in the new year.
Okay, cool. Do you know when the date of the ceremony is?
That's a great question. Connie!
Hey, look at the Asian languages we offer. I can't wait to show them to our students on Imagine Day. Oh, you are asking about news and events. Please follow me. Make sure you check out our newsletters.
I'm so glad that Frog Bear has been able to partner with the department on so many events. I'm also really excited that our research clusters will be in the field next year going to religious sites in Vietnam and Japan.
That's really great. We'll definitely be able to collect more and add to our data collection.
Hey, don't forget to review those WorkLearn applications.
I'm on it.
I want to hire a student to do some research for me. What should I do?
I'll send you a link to the form.
Thanks. Hey, sorry to bother you. Do you know how to unjam the copy machine?
I'll be there in a sec.
Hello, my name is Andrew Fong, Planning Coordinator in Asian Studies. I started working in Asian Studies in February 2021, and it's so wonderful working with Maya and all the staff and faculty and students. I'm happy to support you with curriculum development and changes, syllabi review, undergrad committee support and coordination, sessional offer letters and appointments, supporting the PRT committee, supporting the health and safety and local safety team, enrollment statistics and analysis, and payroll review and reconciliation. Happy 60th anniversary!
Hey, it's Adam. I'm back at Asian Studies after something like 3 months with philosophy. I'm doing student and TA appointments, and I thought I would spare you all my bad acting.
At this time, it is my privilege to introduce Professor Ross King.
Thank you, Gurinder, and hello, everybody. I had the privilege of serving as head of this department from 2008 to 2020. And needless to say, seeing all of these wonderful videos and testimonials is both gratifying and exhilarating. And it's also a testament to the hard work and dedication of so many students, staff, and colleagues. My task today is simple. It is to alert you to the fundraising initiative that we are promoting in conjunction with the celebration of this 60th anniversary of the department. If you go to our department website or take your cue from the screen right now, you will find a page detailing our 60 for 60 campaign. Our goal is to raise $60,000 for the department to support a range of initiatives connected to student life and building community in the department. The department has had notable successes in raising funds for academic initiatives, but as we all know too well, the COVID pandemic has posed serious challenges to our students, both graduate and undergraduate alike, and to our sense of community in the department. And it has been more of a challenge to tackle this through philanthropy. So we're very keen to use donations to this initiative to continue building a vibrant and resilient Asian Studies community here at UBC. Any and all donations will be gratefully accepted, and I urge you to please consider a gift. Thank you. At this point, I need to turn it over to Christina.
Thank you, Ross. I wanted to make sure everybody had access to the website if they hadn't seen it already. I've donated. I invite everyone else to donate who can afford to do so, of course. And I just wanted to point out how exciting it is to see alumni from many generations here with us, from many periods of the past 60 years in Asian Studies. It's incredible to see you in the chat, noting when you graduated. And as a proud alumna, it's just so wonderful to have everybody here tonight. We always want to hear from you, whether you're donating or not. We still want to hear from you, and we hope you'll keep in touch. Thanks, Ross, for all of that. We now are moving towards the conclusion of our evening. And we've always been very grateful for the participation of the Dean of Arts, Dr. Gage Averill, in the activities and the work of Asian Studies. He's a colleague and an administrator who has really served as a fearless leader in the Faculty of Arts over the past decade. And this has been a decade which has seen unprecedented growth for our department. And we believe this is certainly also thanks to his support. So we're grateful for him joining us tonight. Dean Gage Averill.
Greetings. I want to wish a very happy birthday and anniversary to our friends and colleagues in the Department of Asian Studies. It's been 60 amazing years. You know, when I came here close to 12 years ago, I asked myself what was most important about the campus. What were the things that set UBC Vancouver apart from other universities? And of course, primarily we're on Indigenous land. We're on the land of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and the Squamish. But we're also in Vancouver, which for Canada acts as a gateway to Asia and the Pacific Rim. And I wanted to make sure that all of our departments had Asian specialists and expertise. But most importantly, I wanted to have one of the best Asian Studies departments in the world, best in Canada for sure. And really proud to say that you've made that absolutely the case. It's been great to see the department take on these challenges and succeed and build new programs that are already leaders in their field. You know, when I think of the strength any department has to bring, it's teaching first of all, and you all do such an extraordinary job of that. There's so many students in your classes on your waiting lists as well. My daughter will be one of those in Korean this winter. But it's also the research, and you do fascinating research and path-breaking research, and that is more than anything has made you a department that's the envy of the world. And let's also think about something that's just happened in the department. You've hired some new faculty members who work in Indigenous studies in Asia, and for my taste, this is a wonderful moment of crossing, where we take our strength in Indigenous studies and combine it with our global reach, and especially our reach toward Asia. And I think this is going to be, this is an example of the kinds of growth we can expect to see happen in years to come. There are all sorts of issues on which the Faculty of Arts will want to give leadership, certainly in sustainability studies and work on climate, and work on health as well, in work on educating around racism, and in working to move towards a world that has done its best to eradicate racism. All of our departments have a role to play in all of these areas, and I expect the Department of Asian Studies to be a leader in this. You're already showing interests in branching out, in engaging with other departments, in interdisciplinary work, in working on policy. So I imagine the next 10 years is going to have a great growth and an extension of the influence of our department across the campus and in interdisciplinary spaces. I also want to point to something that the Asian Studies has done very, very well, which is working with community supporters, our alumni in the community, and in attracting support for the programs you do. And I see Asian Studies building that significantly in the years to come. Again, probably better than any of our other departments. Finally, there are the possibility that we could build a museum of Asian art, and I expect Asian Studies to be central to that initiative. So there's a lot to do in the years ahead, the next decade, but let's say the next 60 years. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you so much, Dean Averill, for your continued support in the Department of Asian Studies. In my 4 years of studying and learning about the wider world through the lens of Asia, I've seen Asian Studies become not just an academic study or a set of fun courses, but also a method of understanding the world. It's with this in mind that I feel a sense of pride in graduating as an Asian Studies major. At a time of increasing uncertainty and strife, when innovative ideas are needed and new questions need to be asked. I feel fortunate to have been able to learn from such an array of international scholars that remind us of just how big the world is. However, Asian Studies has helped me look across However, Asian Studies has not just helped me look across the Pacific. It has also helped me think about like space and place and critical insights about thinking locally and introspectively about my relationship with indigenous peoples and local histories. And now we arrive here, 60 years of UBC Asian Studies. We have behind us a strong history of excellence and presently thriving body of students and scholars. The future of Asian Studies looks to be promising. As a current student of Asian Studies, I want to thank all the wonderful past and present faculty in the department, as well as the alumni that have contributed to the progress of UBC Asian Studies today.
We would like to express our sincere thanks to all our faculty members, our staff, work, learn students, and volunteers. Tonight, we have witnessed the vast number of accomplishments and growth that our programs have undergone in the previous years. And we are certainly immensely proud of all those accomplishments. But that would not have been possible without your dedication and commitment. So once again, our heartfelt thanks to our faculty members, staff, work learners, students, and volunteers. We sincerely appreciate all that you do. Thank you.
And finally, a huge and a truly heartfelt thank you to everybody who joined us tonight for this momentous occasion. 60 years since the Department of Asian Studies was established at UBC, 60 years of learning and challenging ourselves and really building on the early work of so many of you who are here today. We're truly grateful for your presence and we hope for your ongoing support as we continue for at least another 60 years. Cheers to all of you. We don't have the champagne, but we salute all of you. Thank you for being with us and have a good night.